Okay, this is January the 28th, City Commission meeting, 6 p.m. at City Hall. Tonight, Ralph Lopez will give the invocation and some information. And Commissioner Duplantis, Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis, I'm ready to get out of here now. Will lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please stand? That's right.
Let's bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for this beautiful day that we've had today. Thank you for letting us have the opportunity to work for our citizens, Lord. We just ask you to help us with our decisions and watch over us, keep us safe. All this we ask in Jesus' name.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Here.
Commissioner Moya.
Here.
Commissioner Gamboa.
Here.
Commissioner Arias.
Here.
Mayor Litchfield.
Here. Are there any considerations, changes, or deletions to the agenda?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Yes, there is
Is there?
actually. Oh, we got one that I had.
Oh, yes, that's right. On 5,
I transposed A and B, so A should be B and B should be A. So, a budget adjustment request will be first, and then the actual financials will be second.
So for me, it's the second email you sent me?
Yeah.
all right, I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda as corrected.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as corrected.
Do I have a second?
Oh, second?
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Moya.
Yes.
Commissioner Gamboa.
Yes.
Commissioner Arias.
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
this time, do we have any call-ins for public comments?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. Then next on the agenda is the consent agenda, and this is the consent agenda is approved by a single motion. Any member of the commission may request an item be transferred from the regular agenda, to the regular agenda from the consent agenda without discussion or vote. And those on the consent agenda are the approval of the January 14th commission meeting minutes.
Which I'm very proud to say they are 21 pages long.
Wow, bless your heart.
Good.
It was a long meeting, wasn't it?
If your phone is the one that's vibrating, it should go off.
Oh, yeah.
I
Madam,
would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Oh, second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Gamboa.
Yes.
Commissioner Arias.
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner West.
Yes.
okay. Under ordinances and resolutions, our first item is the fiscal year 21 second quarter budget adjustment request, and that is 2021-02.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Commissioners. This is the second quarter budget adjustment request that I need to submit to DFA. It's in the amount of a deficit, well, this will bring our budget to a deficit of $52,074.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that number.
$52,074 deficit. That's between the revenue and the expenditures on the budget side. I did include the funds, if you have any questions about where any of the departments are standing right now with their income or their revenue or their expenditures. If you don't have any questions, I would ask for your approval.
Commissioner Arias, you have any questions?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis?
I have none.
Okay, Commissioner Moya?
I don't, because I just got the thing when I came to my agenda, when I came to the commission meeting. So I really didn't have time to examine it.
Okay, Commissioner Villanueva?
I don't have no
Okay,
question.
then I would entertain a motion to accept the 2021-02 budget adjustments.
I'll make a motion that we accept the 2021-02 budget adjustment.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
I can find your name on my list. Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem DePonte.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
At this point, I'm gonna object because I did not receive this in time, even though I'm familiar with their budget, I still needed to examine it. Thank you.
well, I do need to add that that budget adjustment, request was emailed to everybody last night, so that
Let
one
me
was.
tell you what I got
included.
out of my email. It's right in here and it's not in here. In the email.
Okay. You didn't have it either?
And I would like to say, I apologize that they're late, but I am down 2 positions in my department. So there's only 2 of us. We had utility billing that was due Monday. We had cutoffs. We've had payroll. We had W-2s. We had 1099s. It's the end of a quarter and I have to get this into DFA. It's a very good budget adjustment. We actually went down in some of the departments. We received some extra revenue. I apologize, but it's really out of my control at this point.
And I do apologize as well. I thought I had.
Yeah, and I
something
understand,
over.
and I'm not blaming anybody, but my duty is to examine the budget as a governing body member. And therefore, it is very irresponsible for me to okay something that I have not examined. Thank
Well,
you.
I think when you see the actuals, you might feel better about it.
Thank you.
Okay. Did we finish with roll call? Oh, no, we still have one more.
Commissioner Moya said no,
No, I didn't say no, I said objective.
so abstaining.
Abstain, I'm sorry. Gee, I'm not even a judge. I've been watching too much court.
Okay.
Okay. Next is the quarterly, fiscal year 21 financial, 2021-03 actual financials.
Okay, so on this one, I can talk a little bit more. Going back to Commissioner Moya's concerns about the budget, this page that I have included in, this is off of the Tyler system. If you look at the original budget, let's start with general fund. At the beginning of the year, we were in a deficit 447,000. So now to December, we have gone down to a deficit of 380, meaning we've received some revenue, so that has brought that down. Let me see which other one would affect that. And then, of course, like we've talked about before, we got the money back from, oh, help me out, Mark, who is it for wastewater? The state?
Clean water.
Clean Water Bureau, we got that money back that we had taken out. So of course that helps offset it, but we originally started off our budget in a deficit of 631,000. And so after the budget adjustments that I just presented, our budget is now at a deficit of 52,000. So yes, it's other departments that are helping to offset it, but even in general fund, we have gone down in our deficit number. Now, looking at our actuals, and again, this is what we have actually spent versus what we actually have received, not our budget numbers. And so if you look at the DFA system report that I attached, we are sitting favorable, 1,554,925. And going back to general fund, because that's always our area, we are favorable between our revenue and our expenditures, 246,000. And again, that's this report, and it's on the very top line under the fiscal activity. It's showing favorable $260,000. Our variance is favorable, 626,000. What that would mean is if we were to end the year right here, right now, our general fund would be sitting favorable $626,000. So as long as the departments continue to control their spending and, shop around, get the best price, I would assume, and I predict that we would probably be under budget at the end of the year, the way everything is heading.
Good. Appreciate the department heads doing that.
Yes, they are working very hard. I did review some of the budgets, especially like the rec center and the convention center, since they're not open, making sure that they're not spending money that they shouldn't be since they're not open.
Right.
So I've been watching that. So this is the report that I'm gonna submit to DFA, and I submit another one that's just for our budget numbers that was attached in the first one. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, or I would ask for your approval.
Okay, Commissioner Arias, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Good job.
Thank you.
Commissioner Moya,
At this point, none, as again,
Okay.
didn't have time to review it.
all right, Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes. I mean, I don't know.
oh, okay.
And real quick, Commissioner Moya, after you look it over, if you have any questions, you can call me. I'll be
Yes,
happy to answer
I'll
them
be
for you.
glad to, because
Okay.
I always.
Alright.
And I forgot to bring the EMS report. I was gonna give you an update and I forgot it, but I have it. I'll send you an email.
Thank you.
And thank you again, and thanks the department heads for being conscious of their budgets. So, okay, I would entertain a motion to accept the financial actuals for 2021-03.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2021-03.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
Abstain.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is bids and contracts. It would be Tucumcari Airport Taxiway A&B Rehab Contract Modification. I believe Mr. Lopez will present that.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. This is our final change order for the taxiway project to adjust quantities to the actual quantities in place, so we can close the project out. Let me get on my page here. This is an adjustment up in price to the amount of,
Is that the expenditure amount?
yes, ma'am,
101?
101, 551, and 56 cents. This project is completely funded by FAA and NMDOT Aviation Division, so it's not an expense to the city. This just adjusts it to the quantities that will be paid out by those two entities. I'll take any questions on this project, and I'd like to ask for your approval.
Okay. Commissioner Villanueva, any questions?
I don't have no questions.
Okay, Commissioner Moya?
Same. I don't have any questions. Do not have
Mayor
any
Pro Tem
comments.
Duplantis?
I have none.
Okay, Commissioner Arias?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, Ralph. I'd entertain a motion to accept this, the bid on this contract on the airport taxiway rehab contract modification.
I'll make a motion, we accept the bid contract on the airport taxiway A&B rehab contract modification.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis.
Yes.
Commissioner Moya,
Abstain.
Commissioner Villanueva,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Rob.
Next is the city manager's report.
Yes, ma'am. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all of our city employees for stepping up and pulling their weight. This budget wouldn't be where it's at without everybody's support and working on it. And most of all, I'd like to thank Rochelle and Maribel for sticking through all this, being shorthanded, like you said, from everything from W-2s to payroll to disconnects. They've had to do all of that on top of their normal duties, so I appreciate them very much. I'd like to start where we left off in the last commission meeting. Last commission meeting, we were able to approve quite a few different agreements and contracts with individuals. Since that meeting, we have continued with those contracts to move forward with those individual scopes. That next day, that following Friday, the mayor and I were able to meet with Senator Woods along with the county and kind of address some of the concerns we have with upcoming legislation, as well as put some things on his radar. So we thank him for his time and listening in on that. With that, there are a lot of items, different bills throughout legislation that are going to affect the city greatly moving forward. Unfortunately, there's certain bills that are going to pass. It's just to what extent, how far can we negotiate to try to make it less of a blow to the city of Tucumcari and other municipalities. City Manager Association has been meeting weekly to discuss this, encourage their boards and whatnot to go ahead and try to voice their opinions, speak to their lobbyists that they've hired to try to minimize that deficit that we'll be seeing. For example, House Bill 4, which is gaining steam and going to move forward more than likely, is going to impact us financially as a city. What that does, it removes the cap that we have on lawsuits toward claims of $1,050,000 for, I believe so, $1,050,000. And in doing so, everybody's expecting our insurance, our liability insurance to go up. There's going to be a potential for higher lawsuits. There's going to be potential in other bills for more lawsuits to come towards the city, just everyone in general. So we're doing what we can to voice our opinions moving forward. But I just want to let the commission know we already face difficult situations as it stands, getting ready to prepare for the upcoming budget that we've all agreed on. We need to get to that zero balance budget. And unfortunately, things like this make it more difficult for us. Along that note, there's been some positive things that happened, of course, within the last 2 weeks. Bands of Enchantment, as reported earlier, they're going to start filming in mid-February. Due to governor's health orders and other things, just to be a little bit more prepared and not rush, they will be filming now, contingent, if it's not set in stone. March 16th will be the first date for that. So I've been lucky enough to go around town and introduce them to some people, and I'm excited to get that started. We also have a feature film that will be filmed here in Tucumcari. They'll start filming on February 1st, and they have a few scenes that they're actually going to be filming here in Tucumcari on February 5th, which is a Friday. Originally, they were just going to do the pass-through, kind of hit the main highways. But after discussion, they've felt really warmed and welcomed to our hospitality here in Tucumcari, and after talking to them, they're going to film at least 2 scenes here as well, so that's great. Earlier this week, the mayor and I also had a chance to speak with Congresswoman Teresa Ledger Fernandez. We were able to voice some of the concerns we have with infrastructure and other issues we battle here as a smaller town, a smaller municipality. It was nice to have that open line of conversation and communication, and I look forward to her helping us out any way she can moving forward. And last but not least, I'm going to touch briefly on the 2nd Street project. There have been some concerns. We've heard them from citizens, and internally we have some concerns. I'm not going to go into detail, but we have voiced those. We started today. We had another on-site meeting. We had previous meetings as well. And we're going to do what's best for the city. We're going to do what's right. More than likely, we're going to be requesting to have that asphalt ripped up and removed. It's not done to specification, not where it should be. But again, I'm going to wait, and tomorrow I'll be working on an official statement on behalf of the city on our concerns. Main Street's already started. They provided one letter, which we reviewed last commission meeting, but they may tweak it just a little bit. And we're going to put all our documentation, recommendations from engineers, compile that information. We'll be releasing an official statement to the contractor, and we'll go from there. But I just want to let everybody know, the commissioners as well as the community, we do hear those concerns, and they are being addressed. And it may delay the project a little bit, but I can guarantee you we're going to get what we paid for and what we deserve, not accepting anything less. And with that, that concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda is items from commissioners. Commissioner RS, I'll start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. I got several calls this week about, I know you've had your plate filled, Mark, but the wall there at the cemetery, is there any update on that from their insurances?
There is. So there's a delay for some reason. Sounds like there's some miscommunication between the individual that wrecked into the wall, their insurance. Mr. Weigel had graciously offered to help us on behalf of that and get things together, paperwork and things processed. And he had previously submitted the documentation that I found out just last week. They were requesting that same information again. Tomas from Parks and oversees the cemetery reached out to me and stated, hey, they need this. I said, that's already been taken care of. Long story short, paperwork was resubmitted. The insurance company did find it. Quote's been submitted. So we're waiting for the check to be cut and we will get the contractor on board and move forward with it.
Thank you. I received a thank you the other day from a constituent in my district that she had put in work order to have roads fixed. And they did get out there and get, got those potholes fixed. So thank you to the street department and for all their hard work in fixing our streets problems. You know, there's several problems that are, but if we follow the right processes, we'll get there eventually. I want to just reiterate and request at our next meeting. We did have the meeting with Ria Serna earlier today for those who are listening. And in the presentation, she was speaking about changes to certain ordinances we have and allowing mixed uses in certain districts. I want to go ahead and now ask that that does come up as a topic of one of our work sessions, at least in the next meeting or two. With that, I'm Commissioner. Thank you.
And the date of the next meeting is February
The 11th, and we happen to have the public hearing for the liquor license for Allsups. So I don't know if you want to do it that night or push it back to the second meeting in February.
I believe the 25th would be sufficient, though.
Okay.
Give it its time.
I'm making a note. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem DePlantis.
Short and sweet. First, I just want to remember a couple of pothole machine breaks ago when I found that big pothole that was real dangerous, and I asked y'all to see if y'all could do something about it. You know, that pothole is still filled. I would love to know, and we need to do whatever y'all did without that machine. That pothole, which I would have assumed by now would have been out, because it was like a canyon. I don't know if you had gone out there and seen it, but it was huge. And to the point that I wanted a barrel or some type of barrier to keep cars from hitting it, because it not only would have damaged the car, but could have caused a serious accident. Y'all fixed it without that pothole machine and did it. I mean, just a phenomenal job, because you can't really tell that there was even a pothole. And I check it every morning. I drive by it every morning and I look at it because I've been just kind of curious on how long it's going to last.
I thought that one they did go through with the pothole machine.
No, the pothole machine was, I think you had gone out there and you looked at it and you agreed and y'all were going to put a barrel, but y'all ended up doing something to fix it without the machine. And y'all, I mean, I'm just still impressed that every morning I go by there and it's still, after all the snows, the rains, the cold, the hot, it's still in there. And I want to say it's been about a year now. And it's just, for being as big as it was, whoever put that pothole together still has kudos for me.
We might have had a little bit better mix. So an update on that. Back then we at least had cold mix, or if we had access, we throw some hot mix down. Unfortunately now, I just found this out recently, we are not able to get cold mix from Versatile. Their plant, of course, is now in Logan, and they make a batch when they can, and we get some down here. But right now we've just been using millings, so that's what we fixed High Street. I know we went down the street close to Commissioner Villanueva's house, and unfortunately it's just millings. They're doing the best they can with what they have, but unfortunately a lot of those, it's not as good material, so it's more of a Band-Aid effect. It's better than a hole, like you said, but ultimately we need to get it done appropriately with some good material.
Well, those guys did a wonderful job, just saying. Earlier in the week, I discussed with you, is it the cemetery ordinance?
Yes.
On the next work session, I'd like for us to go over, there's a spot on there and there's been a request by a citizen. And I'd like to, he'd like to come talk with y'all during the work session concerning it. And, I'm not going to get too much into it during the items of the commissioner because this isn't a time for debate. But I think it's a commendable what he wants to do. And I think he has every right to bring it up. And I think we should look at it as a possible amendment to an ordinance.
Okay.
And that's all I have tonight.
So just a real quick question, the work session for the 25th of February, we're wanting to start it at 4 o'clock as well, like today? Since we have the discussion regarding the ordinances and now the cemetery
Yes,
potential amendment,
I think that worked.
4 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, Paul?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Commissioner Moya?
Just a couple of things. One of the things is I'm glad we got to High Street. It was really getting, on High Street, which is second, between first and second, it was really bad. I didn't complain much about it because I used the other street. But, it's really nice. It came out good. On, there was, about a year ago, they also did one on Maple and a bigger pothole on Maple and, Rock Island, and it's still holding pretty good. So whatever they bought the stuff from, it must have done pretty good. The other question I have is why is it taking so long to hire people if are so handicapped?
We go through a process. We don't want to just open up the application pool for a week, so we held it an ample amount of time to get a good pool of applicants. We did hold interviews this week for one of the positions, and the position's been offered, and we'll see how it goes. If that's the case and the applicant takes the position, then that individual would start in 2 weeks.
You don't have other people with cross trainers that
Mark.
can fill it out temporarily?
They
While
did
others are
accept it.
still waiting?
Starts on the 9th.
So that individual did accept the position, and she'll be starting on the 9th.
Yeah, but you don't have people cross training because it seems like it hinders some of the department right now.
Well, we actually have. I'd like to thank Lucille. I'm glad you brought that up. I pulled her over to City Hall to answer phones during disconnect, and she's been helping out as well. So we do have people that are cross-trained. It's, but still, at that point, it's still a learning curve because we're having to train, I say we, the finance department's having to train those individuals to make sure that they know what they're doing to be able to accept payments, to be able to answer questions appropriately. So either way, it's a work in progress. It's been a lot of work, and I do thank everybody for stepping up.
Yeah, okay. It's always a good idea to cross train so that the city won't be handicapped.
Yes, sir.
The other thing is, you said you were gonna get back, on the Main Street and, Second Street on that building, something about you guys were notifying the owner, you're working on it, what was the deal on the dilapidated one that's over here, Main and the Blitz building?
Yes. That's something I'm working on. I don't have an official answer from the individual yet. But he is willing to take responsibility and start doing what he can on his side to clean up that building and fix it. But right now, like I said, I don't have an exact timetable. He's handling some financial things right now, and he'll get back to, he's been put on notice. He needs to get down here.
Yeah,
and take it.
let me ask you a question. Is the same person that has Rock Island and Maine? What's happening with that?
Same thing. That individual happens to own both properties, and we discussed both of those.
So what's the time frame here?
Timeframe, my timeframe, I told him is ASAP, as soon as possible. So
No, what kind of time frame do we give?
what time? So I didn't do anything official. I reached out to the individual. He had been waiting for me to talk to him, but we don't have a code enforcement officer right now. So the best I can do is run that up to the police chief and ask him to start doing the code enforcement. But I didn't write any kind of letters. It was a cordial conversation. It's more of an effort to, I know the mayor likes the saying a lot, we do a lot better attracting flies with honey than with vinegar. So
Sometimes they never get trapped, so what's the problem?
Well,
We're gonna address it.
it's the conversation, the communication line's been open and we've discussed it.
Well, I hope you do follow up on it. And the other thing is, this is my last item, you said you were gonna come in on a Monday to visit with me on a question I had in the commission meeting last time. But I noticed I did not say what Monday, so I don't know what Monday you're thinking.
Correct. And I thought about that. The Monday I was thinking about at the time was a holiday. So I needed some downtime as well. So I figured that we'll get together after the meeting. You pick a date and we'll do it.
Well, you can still continue on Monday, you can set a date for a Monday and come in. And the reason that is because I really wanna, like I told you in the last meeting, I don't wanna hear that thing again before the commission.
Correct.
And I wanna see your plan, and, thank you, that's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Villanueva?
Okay, I want to thank the street department. I seen them on Main Street the other day, cleaning the curbs, they did a good job. The only thing I could please ask is, they can put some kind of road signs to protect them, you know what I mean?
Just some orange construction signs, men working ahead or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like that, for safety, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I don't know if you guys require for them to wear a hard hat or anything, for in case of something happens.
We do, depending the situation where they're at and the scope of job they're doing. We provide them the PPE, gloves, hard hats, boots, et cetera, depending what the job calls for.
And another thing I'd like to thank them for fixing the streets from my area, you know. And, I got one complaint about people throwing, carpet, house, you know, like sheet rock and stuff in the dumpster.
Yes.
And I'm getting tired of it because they fill up all 3 dumpsters in my alley. I've talked to the people a couple of times. The day I called you about complaining, they wouldn't answer the door. When I got to the address.
And that's, the one thing I could recommend is if anybody could get visual documentation, whether it's video, license plate numbers, know who the people are, take pictures, then we could relay that over, to the police department. I know it's difficult being down a code enforcement officer. And if the police officer's on a higher priority call, something, of course, we won't pull them, but that's why it's crucial to get that evidence. And, that type of construction material, carpet, sheetrock, that's not allowed to be in dumpsters. Again, dumpsters are only for household allowed waste. That's the waste you generate from your kitchen, your eggshells, your common trash, paper towels, things like that, not construction debris. We do allow that to be dumped out at the landfill. There's a small charge, but that's where it belongs, not in our dumpsters. So if anybody can get us that information, we're more than willing to look into it. But yes, that's disappointing that they're doing that. That could also cause damage to our equipment as well.
Yeah.
Can I add something to that also? So Commissioner Vienna, I don't know if it's you or one of your constituents, but, for anybody, if anybody sees them doing that or they see it and they know who it is, they can always call City Hall. We'll call Alex or Danny and they will go out there. They have had people go and get their stuff out of the dumpster for the exact reason, like Mark said, because it's gonna ruin our trash truck.
Yeah.
So they can always call us and then we'll send them right back out, okay?
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, anything else?
Just potholing on the cemetery, can they actually smooth it out somehow with the Bobcat back drag?
If it's just gravel or say like base course or something like that, yes, I think we could. As far as trying to go and do any kind of patchwork, I'd wait till we got the pothole machine back just so we can make sure it's a clean, nice hot patch.
Cause I know, a guy called me, right before the meeting, he said, right there by the Santo or whatever. Like the Catholic area, I guess, like some people call it. You know, it's pretty rough right now, you know?
Getting some ruts or just
Yeah.
kind of washed out. I will,
Machine, and I know the guys are busy, you know? I'd like to thank them too, that it's pretty hard work to maintain.
I'll reach out to Tomas and see if we can get a Bobcat or backhoe something out there and just back drag it and try to clean it up.
Smooth it out. That's about really it.
All right, it sure is nice to have all 5 of us together again. I appreciate it. It's nice to see everybody in person, and I know that you gotta get used to the school zones again, because hopefully, knock on wood, February the 8th, they will open up and all schools will be going. I know elementary is going. It's been nice of a morning, hear the cars go by my house. I like that, and see the school buses. So anyway, so just remember that. Mark and Ralph, thank you so much for your continuing to stay on top of 2nd Street. And I know it's gonna delay some things, but we want it done to our specifications and the money that we spent on it. So thank you very much for that. Other than that, everybody stay safe, and we'll see you again February the 11th. So I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Villalba,
Yes.
Commissioner Arias,
Yes.
Mayor Litchfield,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Duplantis,
Yes.
Commissioner West.
Yes.
Yes. All right, guys, you can turn on your,
Go home.
go home, go see Amy.